Hi, it's Forum 11, and I think that the civil rights movement kind of catapulted African Americans into better situations after the 1960s. And I think by the 1980s, a lot of African Americans were feeling the progress, such as like the Huxtables, for example. Claire was a lawyer and Cliff was a doctor, living under the same roof, raising a family. They were very successful, and that was something that was important to shed light on because that wasn't always the experience that African Americans were getting in the 1980s, even today, but in the 80s for sure, they weren't getting that kind of exposure. And with Vanessa coming home from school complaining about the kids picking on her for being too rich, I mean, I really think this speaks to how class was a major problem, not so much being black in this particular example. I know that the Cosbys in general did not really dive into race relations that much, but this was definitely about class. But never did they forget that they were African American. And I believe that Cliff Huxtable definitely would understand where, like the cast from Do the Right Thing came from. Like he came from not having much, and he built up his life. Just like the three men talking about, should we go to the Korean store? Stop talking about it. Let's be about it. If you want to do it, you open a store. I think that that kind of motivation is what drove Cliff Huxtable to do better, and he was afforded more opportunity because of the civil rights movement. I definitely think class is a major problem. So is race, but with these examples, definitely class. I think that it was important to notice how, although they didn't really talk too much about race, the Huxtables, they gathered around the couch when they watched the MLK speech, and they didn't have to actually say it, but it was a huge moment, especially for TV at that time. They definitely did not forget that they were black. So to say that they're white family in blackface, I mean, I just because you're not talking about race in every episode doesn't mean that you're not proud of where you came from. So I definitely think that's a misconception that people have, that they abandoned their race. And I think maybe the characters and that didn't know any better and Do the Right Thing might think that they did abandon their race. But then they weren't afforded the same opportunities. They were kind of stuck and they didn't know better. So I can see where they might be the people that would tease a person like Vanessa. And it's funny to note that they both went through struggles, that they don't know each other's struggles. Vanessa never knew what it was like to live the life that those men lived, like in Sal's Pizzeria, when they saw the racism basically written on the wall by not having any African Americans represented there. It's something that Vanessa doesn't know anything about, and at the same token, they don't know anything about the way that she lives and the struggles that she goes through. They're just different struggles, and that's based on class. But the funny thing to note is, if you don't want to support those businesses and you think that it's wrong, you have to do something about it. And yelling boycott is one thing, but to walk out of the pizzeria holding your pizza isn't making much of a statement. What's really funny and interesting is last night I went to 25 Burgers in Linden to pick up food, and I noticed on the wall it was all Italian Americans, just like Sal's wall. And I looked purposely, not one African American was represented in 25 Burgers in Linden, and it was just like right out of the movie. So, I mean, we do see these things today, and it's a shame. But yeah, I definitely think that you can see the difference in class when you're seeing the way people are being treated in both of these examples, Do the Right Thing and The Cosby Show.